Higher sales amidst residential business and ongoing expansion in Visayas and Mindanao drive growth for Cebu-based firm Cebu Landmasters. With us now for more is Jose Soberano III, the president and CEO, visiting Manila. Good to have you back on the city, Joe. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Kathy, for this opportunity again. It's been a while.
I'm
glad to be here.
Yeah, first off,
Yes.
just how are your properties in Mindanao following the quake? Have you taken stock on their status? Is everything fine and everyone okay?
Yeah, I'm just in the first-tiered city in Davao and Cagayan de Oro. I think things are pretty normal there. And you know how things are be able to withstand now with technology. So things are fine, except for a couple of incidents that we have been hearing, no, and some fatalities that have come about.
It's good to know that your properties are good, your people are fine. How are the developments so far in Visayas and Mindanao come along? I mean, since your public listing last year, it's been that long, about 12 months ago.
Yeah, maybe about 2 years since that last listing. Continued growth and expansion. So before the listing, I was not yet in Davao to a large extent. I have a township now, development there with our partners, the Yuson and Wang family. And I also have engagement with a township with Laurel family, with a university town. And back in Cagayan de Oro, we have things moving with Xavier University, which is just awaiting the final decision from the Superior General from Vatican before we could engage into another university township development there.
Is that where the expansion is in Mindanao? I mean, the first few projects that you mentioned are all in Mindanao, in Davao, in
Yes.
the first-tier cities. That's where you're expanding more and faster than in Visayas. Is that correct?
It's still basically in Cebu. Of all my portfolios of developments, Cebu constitutes still 40%. And now we have new cities that we have penetrated, like Ormoc, Iloilo, and we've been there already in Bacolod, Dumaguete, and Tagbilaran. So it's still spread out pretty well, principally 40% in Cebu, and then, well, Davao should follow in terms of portfolio and Cagayan de Oro.
Joe, 3 years on, and as the current administration's really pinned its focus on the growth cities outside Metro Manila, including Cebu, Davao, how would you gauge the pace of the pledged infrastructure build in the Vis-Min regions, and how is that impacting business?
It's pretty positive. I think the thrust of government really is to put some concentration in the Vis-Min areas. We've been hearing also in Davao that railroad project is on stream, and we hope that the phase 1 starting from Bislig to Tagum, passing through Davao City, is in the offing already. And even if you go to Cebu, we have been talking about this BRT transport system for a while, and finally things are going to take place, no, in a few months, as what I've been hearing from the authorities. So there's been so much support coming in from the government as far as providing the infrastructure boost for Visayas and Mindanao.
And apart from the BRT, there is the Cebu-Cordova Bridge, now under construction. How is that affecting nearby real estate? And how are you taking advantage of the potential growth of business prospects along that route?
Well, the beneficiary location would be Mactan. That will be the third bridge. So there will be better accessibility on the metropolis of Cebu, which is principally Cebu City and the neighboring cities in Talisay, Naga, Toledo, and of course Mandaue City. So what we would like to do is to take advantage and and positioned for some hotel or resort development. So in the case of Cebu Landmasters, we had positioned ourselves with some two projects there to hopefully take advantage of the influx, not just from the foreign, but even from the domestic tourists, which could be basically from just in Cebu.
I know that you're focused on Visayas and Mindanao, but I'd have to ask if your business is feeling the effects of the government restrictions on the Philippine online gaming operators, the Pogos here in Metro Manila. Is there any impact at all from where you're doing business?
Well, there are areas there in Cebu where we have the Pogos. But in the case of my company, in Cebu Landmasters, we have been shying away from it, no? We just feel that that is not within the context of how we would like to attract our locators in our buildings. But I have nothing against Pogo. If it does proliferate some more, it could be also beneficial in terms of populating our buildings, especially the offices. And there is also a strong interest coming from them, especially from Pogo employees, on acquiring and leasing condo and even horizontal housing projects.
So you're not against it, so are you in favor of them taking a bigger part of your business as against more of the BPOs occupying your space?
As I mentioned, we haven't been very aggressive with Pogos. I still feel that with the number of buildings that I have programmed over the next few years, it can be occupied by the BPOs and our traditional office markets, who would also be coming from different parts of the country and who may want to take a position on key cities like Cebu or Davao.
Macro-wise, Joe, what is the appetite for property at a time of falling interest rates, falling inflation, and a strengthening peso? I mean, the company caters to the high-end, the mid-market, the economic, and the socialized housing segments.
We're principally in the economic and mid-market, in the housing side, no, of business. And because of this falling interest rate scenario, I would anticipate more buyers' appetite with more affordable about affordable funds for them to be able to acquire properties on that particular sector. So this has been very favorable in terms of development, and it is also a good support for our suppliers and even our contractors, who would make things more accessible for them and to bid aggressively for projects.
Final point, Joe, with the way things are going for you, will you meet or exceed your full year target of 5.3 billion pesos this year? I mean, already revenue surged 45% or 2.6 billion in the first half.
Yes, we are on track with that target. This is something that we have been anticipating all along. This is we have experienced that in the first half, and this will continue in the second half. We're very optimistic about us attaining these numbers that we have set.
All right, all the best in the expansion plans in Vismin area. Joe, thank you so much for joining us. Jose Soberano III, the President and CEO of Cebu Landmasters in Makati.